that when you know better, you do better. And so one of my thoughts this year was to create the Black Report for Black faculty and staff. And some of you might have this on your seat there. But it's time to illuminate what is going on this campus. Now, the good news, because you might look at this and say, wow, this is sad. But actually, we're one of the best in the nation. We're one of the best. So when we talk about minority males and what we're going to do to help them succeed, I always say we need more Black men. Okay, in our community, we know women tend to take the lead in a lot of things, and sometimes that's necessary. But when we talk about the healing and the success of the Black male, we need more Black men. And so we need action, we need strategy around how we are going to motivate, influence, have our voice in the conversations around having more Black men work here at this university.
And to that point, we have a new senior director in our office, Dr. Marco Barker, who will be joining us on Monday. And Dr. Barker has led the Black Male Leadership Initiative at Louisiana State University. It's a well-developed national model. We intend to reap from his knowledge and experience in that area. Of course, there are members of my team. I think Mr. Perez is here and has been working with these kinds of efforts over time. You know, and it is about undergraduate success at Carolina. It's about underrepresented student success, and then it's about the differentiated aspects along the continuum and those various segments of which African American, Latino, and Native American, American Indian, I should say, males are a part. And so we have to look at all those opportunities. I also think we have a chance to continue to advance the brand of Carolina, of which access is a critical component. And I'd like to think that we're getting more clarity around that. And we are connecting access to diversity and diversity to excellence. And it's about leveraging that. So to the degree that we are a part of this differentiated segment that constitutes underrepresented students and faculty and staff, I think we add to the imperative of contemporary society, which is the success of these groups, because we are the success of a nation and the success of even the world. So my hope is that we'll be able to create opportunities such that we have the strategies for success that can be demonstrated. We'll be able to share those success models, and we'll be able to equip our students to be culturally competent and to be able to lead and to be successful in a multicultural society and a global economy. We have great plans for our work. We have absolutely brilliant and incredible students who I'm not sure understand the magnitude of their potential, but it's our job every day to let them know what that is. And so I'm pleased to be here, and I'm pleased to be a part of what I think makes Carolina so great. And I believe that diversity is our strength, and we're going to keep on keeping on.
Thank you, Dr. Blake. We're going to, oh, great.
Question for the board. One of the questions that come up with the comments that was made was to talk about the collaboration. What can we do to increase the interaction between the athletes and us? I mean, because one of the things that you learn, you know, guilty by association. You work around people long enough, soon enough you start thinking and feeling the same way they're thinking. So if you get around a group of people who's talking about academics, or, you know, I'm concerned about this class, I want to get an A, versus just football or basketball or track. What can we do to increase that interaction? I mean, we talked about it, but what can we do about it? I mean, the bottom line is we realize that there's a problem to bring the group together. So what can we do about it? I'm asking the panel.
I think we got to start with, it's not the athletes and us. We're all students.
Okay, so in my mind, it's not the athletes and us. We got to get away from that concept. We're all students. We're all talking. We don't don't say the black students and the rest of the body. We say Tar Heels. We're all one family. So if we can start working away from that notion, then we start with some common ground. And we're all here to be students. We're all here. We're all Tar Heels. Okay? And athletes in general are very outgoing people. If you come up and say hello, they will talk your ear off. Okay? We are not unapproachable. So if they aren't taking the first step, take the first step and say hello. I'm in your class too. Would you like to be a part of our study group? You know, a lot of times we will isolate ourselves because we feel like we are the athletes, and we've got to walk in our own community, and we don't reach out. But if you'll just reach out and say hi, especially the guys, they will talk your ear off. I mean, we are very open, we're very friendly, and we aren't separate. We are a part of the population.
Other comments on that? Yes.
I agree with Coach Netters. I mean, I'm an athlete as well, but a lot of students here on UNC campus look at athletes as if we're somebody different. They don't want to talk to us. We separate ourselves from regular students as if we have a higher priority than them. So we're in the classroom, it's like, okay, all the athletes are sitting together, and then you have all the regular students sitting together. How come we can't just, okay, hi, I'm Kiki, nice to meet you. Not only do I do a certain sport, but I'm actually a student first. And it's always student athlete, it's not athlete student. And I know my husband, I have to tell him, you're not an athlete first, you're a student first. So we have to put that in priority, that we're coming to school to learn first. And with Clayton, what he has said, you know, when he came, the thought of him, if anything, God, you know, forbid anything happens to him, he also has school to fall back on. So a lot of the student body don't look at it, okay, well, we're just athletes. We still focus on school 24/7 every day. We might get up earlier than you do, we might go to sleep later than you do, but we're still students here at the university.
I really appreciate what you said, because for everybody in the room, by the time you get to be our age, you all won't be athletes anymore. I mean, I still have 4 years of track eligibility. I use some of my football stuff up at Notre Dame. But the athletic superiority, if you achieve that, will always end at some point. Football players stop playing. My father was a pro ball player, and he is now 78 years old. He's not playing pro ball anymore. So I think you're right. You have a lot in common. That athletics might be a way in which you connect to this university and a way in which you serve this university, and you may do it at an excellent level, and you also try to do your academics at an excellent level. But in the end, it's the academics that you get here that you use that will carry you when you are 40, 35, maybe even 30 years old, depending on the sport.
Yeah, I think another issue is that we need to, I think, take athletes off of the pedestal that they're put on, not just student athletes, but as a society. You know, they make so much money. We follow their every move. We're watching the Basketball Wives and then the Basketball Wives. You know, we're just overly fascinated with, you know, these folks who are able to do incredible things, but they are people. So it kind of doesn't allow them to be people too, I would guess, and not allow them to be students. So kind of humanizing, we can humanize athletes more, you know, and see them as the fathers, the grandfathers, and realize that we all have these lives to live after athletics. I think it's important. It's just troubling because I do think about children and the impact that it has on them to constantly be bombarded with the Kobe Bryants and the this and the that, you know, as their only role models.
As a former basketball player in college, I just want to say that part of the problem is that we do see them as entertainers, and we don't see them as students. They have a job to do, just like other people on campus, whether you're working full-time, part-time, whether you're in the band, but we tend to see athletes as entertainers, and that's very, very dangerous. I see a hand in the back.
Yeah, so I know we're saying that the Loudermill Center, you know, like, or we don't separate like athletes and like students. but like places like the Loudermilk Center, like is that, like I've been in there before, and like honestly, like I feel like everyone knows I'm not an athlete as soon as I walk in the door. It's like, how'd she get in here? Type. Like